Hi, this is Anna Crowe with the Get Real podcast, where CEOs, CMOs, and communications experts share their real advice. It's 6 questions under 9 minutes because we get to it real fast. So let's get to it. In a few sentences, please tell us who you are and what you do.
Bruce Linton, unemployable, therefore entrepreneurial.
Wonderful, Bruce. Well, appreciate you coming on today and excited to talk to you.
Good to be here.
Awesome. Bruce, I know you're involved in a couple of different industries, but if you were to pick one, can you tell me what is the best thing about being a leader in that particular industry? And tell us what the industry is, of course.
Sure. So I was in legal cannabis, and I am now in one of the ones is hemp. And the reason it's fantastic is it's massively disruptive, right? Like the best thing you can have as a business is it's nice if you have to invent like an algorithm and create Google. That turns out financially well, but it doesn't always turn out well. What I really like is a place where you can see that you have a better supply option for everything in 100 or more categories. And so why I love hemp is it was a huge thing in America. It was when Betsy Ross made one of the flags on a hemp-based fabric for the flag, and then it got banned. And it got banned because it looked like marijuana, and because the guys who invented nylon, DuPonts, were probably pissed off having a really good hemp rope as a competitor. And so what's old is new again, but with the technologies of today, we can turn it into an electrically conductive fiber, lighter than copper. We can mix it with things like carbon fiber to make an electric vehicle lighter and stronger. We can take down the resin and become industrial lubricants, and we can help make up to 20 to 21% of a new car can be made with hemp components. And so it's very disruptive. And at the end of the day, 1 acre of hemp produces as much pulp as you would get from 1 acre of a forest to make paper, but it takes 120 days to grow, and you don't have to chop down a forest. And so this is a pretty interesting game.
Wow. That's pretty powerful and super interesting work you're doing. I love discussing this. I hear from other successful businessmen and entrepreneurs that creating authentic connections, whether it's your customers or your team, as a leader, can be challenging with all the noise today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I don't even know what authentic means. I like playful, right? So my thing is, I think work environments and customer relationships and partner relationships, they got to have some playfulness in them, because no one's creative and thoughtful and actually themselves unless you introduce that. And so I would say I value people who go out of their way to create. I'm not talking about like somebody coming in with hand pups every day. I'm talking about, smart, playful. And the effect of that is it's disarming, it connects people, and it creates way better things than we would have had without that. The good thing about COVID is, as so many people have said, where'd you get your best thoughts are almost never been said at the office. And so we've all had probably some pretty interesting thoughts as we walked around and saw blue skies we didn't know could be so blue, and silence because there are no planes. And that caused us to have new thoughts. And so that whole relax, let it happen.
I love that. I actually had a conversation with someone today about best ways to brainstorm and come up with new ideas and how to do that during the pandemic. And you're so right. So many ideas happen when you're not really focused on generating new ideas.
Yeah. And talk to yourself positively and say, for every loser, everything that causes a loss will have a win on the other side of the equation. There's nothing disappears. So like walk around in amazement, like, okay, very bad to be an airplane business and hotel business, but there's been some pretty smashing winners. Like if you're Instacart, how's COVID been for you? Like there are people who are 83 years old who didn't even know how to turn on the computer now, are expert Instacart users. That to me, that combo of, wow, okay, we just took 10 years and condensed it into 100 days.
Agreed. I'm pretty sure most of my paycheck went to Instacart in the last 4 months.
Well, I'll just go as I invested about 12 months ago in them. And I did it because it's so good in the US and so bad in Canada. Like in Canada, they can just go to 1 or 2 places. In the US, like you would never need to go anywhere. And then I looked at it. And then COVID hit, and I couldn't believe how many people who were like my parents' generation were like marveling at how basically having somebody do a better job of picking stuff for you than you would do yourself.
Absolutely. Very cool. Well, our next question is more about advice. You gave us some great advice already, but is there any other real tangible advice that you can give to other leaders? Anything else that you think is really important?
Well, I think you used a great word, leader, because when you open it up, you use C-level things, and you have to decide, am I the leader of this place, or am I the optimized manager? And I'm not sure they're always the same thing. And so flipping back and forth, determine, do people really want to follow you? And do you have a compass of direction that you feel confident having them follow? Or do you feel really comfortable as an excellent organizer, manager, incremental measurement report to a board? Because I see a lot of times the stress people have is because they try to play a part which was ill-designed. And like I'm not a particularly good manager. I would not hire me to be a CEO. But I would pick me to be in charge of deciding which way we go. And so, I don't know, be truthful in your analysis of what you want to do and how you do it.
That's great advice. Thank you. Our final question is more of a fun one. I always love to hear where people got started. So tell us about your first job.
I was a ditch digger, literally. So I grew up on a farm, but the first job I applied for when I was 15 was to dig ditches at a company whose job was digging ditches and laying tiles in the field so the water would drain and the farmland would be more productive. And what was eye-popping for me is after I was there for about 3 weeks, I had migrated from young guy with shovel to person doing a lot of the math and layout, because I had some of the most advanced math education of the people in the ditch digging company, which shouldn't shock you. I was already now by that point in time, I think finished grade 9 or junior math. And so it was a great job to have as a first job, because it made you appreciate hard work and how hard some people work for their whole life. And it was because of a lot of disadvantages that they either accumulated themselves or happened at birth. But it for sure was one of those eye poppers that, this is hard work, but it's for a lot of people, this is like their job that's going to be their career, their life. They're just lucky to have it.
Yeah, that's great. That was great experience for you, I'm sure, and you're so right. But I appreciate you sharing. Bruce, before we sign off, how can people get a hold of you if you want them to get a hold of you?
I've kept it simple. I've now gone with email for life, which is bruce@brucelinton.com.
Excellent. Well, appreciate everyone for tuning in. This is Anna Crowe with the Get Real podcast. For more insights, visit us at crowepr.com. Thanks so much and make it a great day.